Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Oh,
How have you been?
up and down,
Me too.
especially as I'm coming into this angelversary time.
Yeah.
8
What,
8
what, what was his date?
8 8 Lionsgate.
Okay. Ah, that must be profoundly significant. I don't know if that's been revealed yet, but
It is. It
yeah.
is. And I was doing numerology that morning, teaching it to, which is so funny, a Chamber of Commerce, teaching Chamber of Commerce numerology. And then I got the
Interesting.
phone call that afternoon.
It's such a
Yeah,
life-changing phone call. I
life
don't,
changing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how all of it is like in technicolor and some of it is a little bit fuzzy. But
Yeah, yeah. How about for you?
Um, Jake passed on May 14th in 22. And it was funny. It was the first day I'm never alone, ever. Had three kids and have three kids and a full-time job and, a busy life outside of work. Um, but everybody was gone. And when I was just wandering around that day. I'd gone to the grocery store. I was going to make something for dinner, and I was just sitting outside, and I got the call from one of my friends whose was her son was with Jake, and then my life turned upside down.
Yeah.
Um, but it's funny how
Sometimes,
we wander through it, and we figure out how to survive it.
yeah, it sometimes feels like no time, and sometimes I mean, it's such an illusion.
Hmm.
Um, for 3 years for me, 4 years for you, give or
Yeah,
take.
yeah,
And yeah, for work, tell me what you do. Tell me a little bit about your work. This is how we got connected.
yeah. I work in a funeral home. I manage the funeral home as well as I wear a lot of hats, but I'm a funeral arrangement counselor, so I sit with families, plan services for their loved ones. I execute those services, so whether it be graveside, church services, celebrations of life. I'm also a funeral celebrant. So many years ago, in 2016, I decided that I wanted to help be a voice and storyteller for people who weren't necessarily connected in a faith community. I mean, you hear about funerals and pastors or priests, messing up the first name, or they didn't really know the person, so that sort of rent a pastor type situation. I wanted it to be more personal, and there's a really amazing woman who teaches this class, and so I'm a certified funeral celebrant. And I've been with the mortuary now for 21 years and never thought that this would be the work that I would do ever in my life. Was not a little girl who thought, I want to work in a funeral home. So I take care of the decedents. We dress, and the only thing I don't do is embalm. So we dress and cosmetize and have conversations with them, and make it so that their family has the best last memory they can have.
Mm.
And I think it's important to honor the body because it is what animated our lives and what we love so much to kiss and hug and tell stories with and have experiences with. And it also helps on the journey of grief to kind of get your head and your heart in the same place. Oftentimes it's completely unreal, that this is happening.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for all that you do. And it's a complete blur about when we talked, and yet here we are still connected.
Right?
And that's what I named my class. My course is still connected in spirit and honoring and supporting mothers coming together, that we can do what we love to do. Because you picked up something called spirit writing.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, I have the blessing of being very connected in the deaf community in Santa Barbara and have friends who, in all facets, whether it be traditional religion or um, hospice nurses or social workers or people who just sort of are plugged in. And when Jake passed, I one of my friends that I've worked with through hospice and other things just said, "Do you know Catherine Weisenberg?" And I said, "No." And she said, "You need to." And she made an appointment for me. And Catherine wrote a book called Beyond Ever After. And she has the gift of being able to tap into spirit. So she does what she calls God writings. And the God entity is whatever that entity is for you. It's not traditionally like religion. Um, and so Jake died about 8 days before high school graduation, and he's a twin. And so I went and saw Catherine the day after graduation. And I have to back up a little bit because when my kids were little, I had a hard time explaining what I did for a living. My husband stayed home with our kids and was a stay-at-home dad so that I could go to work. And so I would come home from work and they would ask what did I do all day? And so when they were little, I said, I took care of a lot of graduates today. And I take care of people who graduated. And so that worked for a little while. And then Jake would say to me, "Mama, do you work for Jesus?" And I was like, "We're not a traditionally religious family." And I was like, "Well, kind of." And he said, "Do you just set them up so that the angels can come and pick them up?"
Oh,
And I said, "Kind of." Um, and so he was probably 7 when he said that. So all their lives, I said, I take care of graduates, people who graduated. And then I went and saw Catherine the day after high school graduation, and Jake came in and he said, "No big walk for me, Mom. I graduated."
mm, wow.
And I almost fell off my chair. Um, I mean, I really uh, give a lot of credit to Catherine. I felt like she saved my life in those moments because having that lifeline to him, to be able to talk to him, to be able to feel like I hadn't lost him forever, um, to me was very healing.
Yeah.
And then that ensued a conversation of the last 4 years, and I can't tell you how many writings, and he is hilariously funny, and he he wanted me to tell people. This was I My birthday was at the end of June, and I had a reading, and he said, "Mom, you have to tell people that the love it doesn't get smaller, it gets bigger."
Mm.
And he said, "Without all of the life noise, the love just gets bigger."
Oh,
I
that
said,
is
"Okay."
so beautiful. And are you just writing in your journal? And you just start writing? How does that happen?
Catherine does the writing, so she says she dips into spirit. She doesn't go anywhere. It's not like a trance, or she doesn't even consider herself. I mean, I guess probably an evidential medium, but she just can dip into that conversation. It's so interesting because she really doesn't go anywhere. We have like a conversation between. She laughs, like she'll be writing and then laugh at something that he said, because she said, I didn't know Jake in life, but he's hilarious in death." So She does the writings. And then I ask, it's interactive. So I ask questions, I'm like, well, who are you with? What are you doing? Where have you been? Are you okay? Do you miss me? Like all of the things. And in the beginning, it was very like, Mom, I understand why you're sad, but I'm not sad. There, um, he said that when he left his body, and he got the life in review because search and rescue found him. They administered as much care as they could in the field. It took about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, to get him down from the mountain where he was, and he was intubated when he got to the hospital, and they did CPR and everything. And at one point, he they knew it was a catastrophic um, situation and that there was going to be no recovery. And so, but he said he got the choice to come back to his body, and or to move along. And my kid was 17 years old. He was super healthy. He would have been in a persistent vegetative state for the rest of our lives. And he was the kindest, most compassionate kid I know. And I just know that he was like, I can't do that to them. And but he said when he left his body, there were three men there, his guides, and that it was like they loved him, and then they loved him even more.
Mhm.
And those were his words. And he said, "Oh, she's going to be so mad." And I said, "I was never mad." And he said, "No, just mad not mad at me, just mad that it happened."
Yeah.
And I never did arrive at anger. I just profound sadness. I just miss
Mhm.
him, you know.
Yeah.
And even though I have this beautiful conversation and conduit to him, I miss the smell of his hair, and I miss the
Mm.
sound of his clomping down the hallway and laughing with his friends. That was my favorite noise, you know. And he was such a nice guy that I just think he would have grown up into like this amazing man. So, it's hard. Some days are easy, and I find solace for myself in helping other people. I came back to work in about 3 weeks, and um, and I just, I felt like if I could immerse myself into helping other people through this journey, that it would heal me too.
Yes. Yes, I get that one too.
Yeah. How
Oh,
about you?
thank you so much. Yeah, I jumped back into work also. The wounded healer and
Yeah.
how we can turn around in our experiences and serve. And I've been doing that off and on. There was a time, right after. Sure, you remember how the last year or the first year, I should say, is almost just a fog, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
going through everything and dealing with bank accounts. And Brian was 45 and he went to work and never came home. He had a brain aneurysm at work.
Yeah.
And so that first year, just taking care of everything, dividing his ashes up. I don't know if you remember this part. He was an organ donor.
Uh-huh.
And that was a trip also, dealing with all of that. And then the second year, we sold everything. And if it didn't fit into our backpack, it didn't come with us. And we went to Europe and stayed over in Europe, Montenegro, Albania, Thailand, just traveling. And that became hard on my nervous system, where sleeping in hundreds of different beds, I really felt like I needed to nest.
Yeah.
We weren't going to come back, and we did. And when all that happened, we were in Florida. And then we met some people on a transatlantic cruise and became friends with them. And they live in Charleston, South Carolina. So they said, when you come back, if you need a place to land, and they helped us kind of get back on our feet again. And we found a house about an hour and a half from them, lovely couple, and we remained friends. And now this year, I'm in my third, and I'm finally able to feel like I can support others
Mhm.
more than, and it comes and goes. I don't feel that all the time, but it feels
Right.
stronger.
Do you have other children? I can't remember.
Yes, Jason.
Yeah.
And Jason and Ryan were 5 years apart. And Jason came to live with us for a while afterwards. He thought, I'm going to help, but the grief was so intense that it didn't
Yeah.
last that long. And Jason's such a traveler. He's in Cambodia right now. We
Mhm.
just had a 2-hour conversation this morning. And he was in the Merchant Marines for 17 years. So Jason just travels, travels, travels. And um, it's like, where's Waldo? It's like,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
in the
Where's
world?
Jason?
Yeah, where in the world is Jason? Yeah. And we were just talking about him this morning, about the signs that I get
Oh,
from Ryan, the cardinals, the feathers. And Jason gets a tractor, he said, and something else. What did he say this morning? But it was really sweet having, I think it's so important that we say their names
oh, absolutely. Every day.
every day. Yeah.
Yeah. My oldest son is 4 years older than the twins, and he and Jake were extremely close. They shared a room. They they played video games in the middle of the night together. All of the things. And I remember him saying, "Mom, are we ever going to be happy again?" And he's an introspective kid, um, really incredibly tenacious, but like he's serious. And Jake was the jokester. And but he was in therapy, and he said, most of the time.
Well, it froze. I hope you come back on.
Particular session a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
and he said it's incredible because I'm proud of myself because I have found joy, right? And then he's driving home, and he turns on his street, and the car in front of him has a bumper sticker that says, "I heart my big brother." So the signs are
Yeah.
everywhere, and Jake is fully present and alive in spirit.
Yeah.
He's just not here,
Yeah.
and we just have to figure out how to get to him.
Yeah. What's the easiest way that you do that?
Well, for me, it's Catherine, and I have another woman that I've seen for 20 some odd years who's a medium. And whenever I have big life choice, I'm not, my kids have seen her. I've taken all of it. I took them all to go see her to find out who their guides were and, what their gifts were. And
Hmm.
um, so for me, it's that. We had happy faces. Jake drew happy faces on everything. I don't know if you can see that, but
Yeah.
that's his happy face that he drew in his everything, dirty windows and composition notebooks. And we had that replicated, but we also put it on stickers. So we have Jake's happy face everywhere, and everybody takes him places when they go traveling, or things that they know he would like McDonald's, or so it keeps him present in their mind, and that makes me enormously happy.
Oh,
um,
that's awesome.
I
And
find
you have
him
a
in.
Facebook group with that, right?
Yeah, just so
Yeah.
everybody can post the pictures. Um and I look for him in the ocean. That he was like I don't even know why he went hiking that day, because he was not a hiker. He loved the ocean. He would just float in the ocean forever. But um those are the ways. And I just talk about him. And music, he loved music. And we walk in the house sometimes and his favorite bands will be playing on the Alexa, you know. And I'm like, hey baby, how's it going?
Yeah.
So,
Uh, yep. Music. Yeah. So many signs. Oh, I love it. I
how
love
about
it.
you? How do
Yeah.
you?
Ryan will play certain songs. The is the Somewhere Over the Rainbow is what they played when they did the honor walk for the organ
Yeah.
donation. So yeah, there's a lot of memories or through the music. There's that one song called Memories,
Hmm.
and um, he'll play Circle of Life, Lion King and different
Hmm.
things. That's just like, I'm here, Mom.
Yeah. Did you get to find out who he helped?
They did. The organ donation sent letters, emails saying his eyes went to Belize, his heart went to a 60-year-old male in California. Yeah, I did get
Well, that's
those.
amazing. So he lives, you know, physically he lives still,
Right?
and spiritually he lives.
Yeah.
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 The biggest message I get from Jake is he doesn't want us to be sad. He understands the sadness, but he's like, you know, when your vibration is here, I can see you. I can feel you. I mean, I did not leave my patio for 3 years. I went to work, I came home. I went to work, I came home. I went to work, I came home. That's all I did. And I felt safe. And I like sat directly next to my husband. We've been married for 35 years. And we, you know, and he was a stay at home dad with these twins. And my girl child is thriving and she misses her brother, but she talks to him all the time. And she, you know, we talk about what would he be doing, and you know, because they're 21 now, and like how different, you know, Jake always used to say, I'm just going to live in a trailer in your driveway and I'll just take care of you. And I was like, you have to go out into the world. And so now he's exploring the universe, and he's told me that he has heard the very first note of music ever played in the universe. He has seen the dinosaurs. He said, I peeked in on them. They're a little bit scary, so I got the hell out of there. And and he's gone submersible and seen the deep trenches with the fish with the lights. And he comes in orbs to his grandparents, and he's just playing with all of it. And I was like, well, who are you with? What are you doing? What are you? He's like,
Yeah.
Mom, it's not like we're stuck together like cotton balls. And he said, you know, I think about something and I'm there.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And he also, he never had the opportunity to have a girlfriend or, you know, drive a car or anything like that. But he met a girl and her name is Lucy.
Ah,
He is with her all the time.
they've been together a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since he arrived, he, well, pretty much, because he said, you don't, and I think there's a misconception that people think that like they're all seeing, all knowing when they transition. And he's like, Mom, I don't know. I'm still learning. Because I'm like, come to me in my dreams. I want to see you. I want to kiss you. I want to hold you. I want to hug you. And he's like, oh, don't know how to do that yet. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is the missing's still there.
Right. The laughter that I miss. And
Yeah.
I make Ryan fried egg sandwiches. We have lunch together.
Love
Um,
Friday
I,
sandwiches.
I said, "What are you doing today?" And he's like, "I'm playing soccer with the kids." So we're just, especially when we had this gathering of all the moms and parents who've kids have passed, and they're like, "Bring a dessert," and I'm like, well, Brian, what am I going to make? And he's like, make my favorite cake, make my favorite cake. And so I made this angel food cake and I took it to the party and they're like, of course, it's an angel cake for all the angels.
And he
Yeah.
said, that's right.
Yeah, it took me a minute, but they were, yeah.
Do
So
you hear him?
yeah, I hear them full on conversations. Um, and I can ask a question and he'll give me, I says, Ryan, what do you think of this? I was doing some art. I'm making these reflection cards. They're kind of like tarot cards and of
Hmm.
all the archetypes. And I'm like, Ryan, what do you think of this? And he's like, whatever floats your boat. That's just what I heard instantly.
They're so flippant.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
don't be so serious. Don't take it so serious. It's not that
Whatever.
serious.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. I hadn't heard that one.
I wish I had gifts. I stay too busy to be quiet enough to learn. Um, I, because I don't, I hear the memories. I hear the laughter. I hear him walking down the hall, stuff like that, but I don't hear him so much say, do this or do that, you know? And
Yeah.
that's why I think I rely on somebody who can give him a voice.
Yours is coming through in different ways of the clairs, right? The clair sentience, the clair knowing, the clair hearing, the clair seeing, the smelling. And
Yeah.
when you said did you miss the smell of his hair?
Hmm.
Yours probably comes through smells.
Yeah. He was, is delicious. He was that baby who was just yummy, you know. His
Yeah.
sister is very lusty and he was a little bit laid back, you know, and Jesse, my oldest, is, you know, very like he's a Leo, so he's like center of attention. And they're Libras and they just, I don't know. I just, you know, I always used to say, Gail, nothing bad happens to me in my life. I mean, I've been on my own since I was 16. I've been with my husband since I was 15 and a half. I created a life that I wanted and was intentional about a lot of decisions, and like I wasn't reckless, and you know, bad things just don't happen to me. And then I got really profoundly sick in 2017 and got well. And I had a really less than 1 in a million cancer of the thymus gland. And I always say love cured me. But losing Jake was like, and I even asked my oncologist, I was like, why did I survive this just to lose my son? You know, like, I don't understand that. And then I did get the answer right in the same moment, which was Jake would not have been able to survive me losing me, you know? And so I don't know. I just, I wish that nobody ever had to understand this pain. And then I like, but you still, but in my logical brain, in my mind, I'm like, but you still have him. He's still fully alive. He's still here. He's still everywhere. But like that heart centered part of me, that mama, I want to hold him in my arms, you know, miss him.
Yeah.
So I am obviously still learning how to do all this.
Let's cross our arms. Cross your arms
Mhm.
and let's tap and just kind of balance our energy of our divine love that we have. Give ourselves a great big hug. Ah, a deep breath. Mm.
It's funny, I don't cry that much anymore. I don't know what it is about today. I started out the day thinking about him, you know. He hangs out in the trees on the freeway when I drive to work. He's like, I don't know why. I'm like, every morning, I'm like, hi, baby. You know,
Yeah, so
I don't know.
beautiful.
It's just such a ridiculous club to be in.
We just never know. It's like a trickster. It's like
Yeah,
when we least expect it.
exactly.
I'm so grateful for the tears and the connection. And anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I want people to know that the love just gets bigger. I want people to know that they're not gone. They're just not right here, right? So when I think about Jake, I think about I've never been to Florida in my life. But I think about him being in a Volkswagen bus with a pretty girl that makes him laugh and that makes him feel safe and loved in the Florida Keys. Like just hanging out, like working a little, but loving a lot, being in the water and listening to music. So in my mind, that's his heaven. Um, because I really don't think that, the pearly gates, like that whole white situation would work out for him. So,
Right. I love that. I love that. And I can hardly wait for when you and your husband take a trip to the Keys also to visit
yeah.
Jake.
Yeah. I don't know why. That was just what came to mind. I was like, well, maybe he's in a Volkswagen bus with a pretty girl and they're just listening to music and hanging out on the beach. But
Beautiful.
I thank you for allowing me the time and the connection with you. I think about your boy often. All of them stay with me. There are certain kids, and it's funny, when I started doing this work, I used to say, I take care of the mamas and the babies, but everybody is somebody's kid, right? And, um, and we loved them enough to give them a name and to remember that. And so I just think I am incredibly blessed to be able to just have a glimpse into your love story and to have him in my hands for a moment.
Mm. Wow. Well,
So
yeah, thank you for taking care of Ryan. And thank you for our time together. Thank you for the
absolutely,
work that you do. We're so blessed. And I thank our kids for bringing Ryan and Jake for bringing us together.
absolutely. We'll have to come see you in South Carolina. I've only been to Charlotte once, so I'm sure that there's a lot to see and do.
Yeah. And I want to hear all about your trip to the Keys.
Yeah, I can't wait till we have to plan. I'm gonna have to plan that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I hope we stay connected.
Yeah, definitely. And sending you so much love.
Thank you. To you too. Bye.
Bye.